Hi, welcome to the Badass Breastfeeding Podcast. This is Dianne, your lactation consultant.
And I'm Abby, the Badass Breastfeeder, and today's episode is brought to you by the Family Wellness Summit 2020, where Dianne and I will both be talking. It's hosted by the Real Crunchy Mama, and we will be, it's a free 5-day virtual conference being held all online, January 1st through the 5th, and we'll hear more about this later, but today's episode is also brought to you by Rumina Nursing Wear's Pump and Nurse Collection, all-in-one products that can both breastfeed, as well as pump hands free in, and we'll hear more, like I said, from both of those in a little while, but right now Dianne has our review of the week, I think?
I do. I have our review of the week, and this also came to us through an email to our Badass Breastfeeding Podcast at gmail.com, through that, and this is from Cynthia. My name is Cynthia. I've been listening to your podcast for about a year, and thank you so much for creating this. I was able to talk to Dianne a couple of times about my little guy, and she helped me so much, especially when everyone, including the doctor, was saying a bunch of BS about him nursing all the time. At his 4-month checkup, our doctor told us that my exclusively breastfeeding baby was not only obese, but that if I continued to co-sleep, I would smother and kill him. He told me to substitute every other feeding with water, and also put him in the crib and let him cry. When I asked for how long, he told me as long as he needs to until he falls asleep. So, because I trusted him as our doctor, we went home and tried this with both of us crying. 15 minutes later, I couldn't take it anymore, and it felt so wrong. I laid down next to him and nursed him, and he closed his eyes and fell asleep. My husband has been such a huge support in this tough and wonderful journey. 19 months later, still breastfeeding on demand and co-sleeping. If it wasn't for this podcast, I probably wouldn't be breastfeeding or co-sleeping right now. You ladies are amazing, and I'm forever grateful. Thank you, Cynthia. And
Thank you, Cynthia.
Is close to my heart, because I did talk to Cynthia a couple of times. We did online consults, because she was getting such conflicting information, and she wanted to know, what was going to be good for her and what was going to be best for her and her family, and to talk it through. And she wanted to add things back into her lifestyle that she wasn't, of course, was being told she couldn't, working out and things like that. So it's really great to, when this email came in, I was really excited to see that, because she's done such a great job, and it's really hard to feel like you're doing a great job when you're a mom.
Yeah. And the conflicting information, we talk a lot about it. And again, we're going to talk about it today. But it's not just myths that need to be busted and, all the funny giggles that, that we make it. These are deal breakers. Like, these are things that stop people from breastfeeding. These are things that stop people from reaching their goals.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, these, the bad information, it's just like, it's not just like, oh, I got some bad information. It's like, this is stuff that's hurting people. It's really hurting people in their breastfeeding relationships.
Yeah, it is. It is. And we are going to definitely get on with that as we're going along with this episode. But send us reviews. We love them. We want you to be our review of the week. We want to talk about what you liked. We want to talk about your experience. And iTunes is a great way to leave us, because then iTunes will like us. But we'll also take emails and stuff like that, too, from you. And today's going to be fun. Fun episode, I feel like. Even though Abby just yelled at me off the air.
What did I do?
I said you yelled at me off the air.
Oh, yeah. I know. There was we don't really plan for the episodes that much. But there was a teeny tiny little task that we agreed to do before this episode. And I can hear Dianne quickly trying to do it over there, because she didn't do it.
I did it in my brain.
You had one job.
I did it in my brain. It was there. I swear. So
yeah, we're gonna
talk about myths, right?
We're gonna talk about myths that won't die. We're gonna try to stab them to death today. I feel like we've been doing that for years, but we got to keep. They just won't die. That's why it's called myths that won't die, because they won't die. But and we're going to play, we decided that we were going to play a little bit of a game, because we get so worked up about these that we decided that we would each pick 4 of our favorite myths, but not tell each other what the other one was picking. And then we would just take turns kind of going back and forth today and, putting out the good information based on these ridiculous myths.
Yeah. Going off like crazy people.
Yes. Our favorite thing to do.
Yes. Do you want to go first?
Sure, I'll go first.
Okay.
Here's my first favorite myth. Your baby should be sleeping through the night by now. Now, I know that doesn't sound like a breastfeeding myth, but it is. Your baby should not be sleeping through the night. Your baby should be breastfeeding through the night. That is what is normal. This is what so many people are being told. Well, your baby shouldn't be waking up that much during the night. You should be sleeping through the night by now. And I told you, I tell this all the time about the time that the doctor told me that Jack at I don't even know, I didn't even see her for very long. It was under 2 months old, that he should be sleeping 10 to 12 hours at night now, which is completely crazy.
That's crazy.
That is not a safe thing for a baby to do. Your baby doesn't need to be sleeping through the night. They need to be breastfeeding through the night. That is the normal, biologically wonderful thing that they are designed to do through the night. And they're going to wake up frequently for a long time.
It's not safe
to do that.
It's not safe for them. They're not supposed to sleep through the night. It's not safe.
And then right. And then when people hear this is what I'm talking about. These myths are not, these myths are hurting people, because when people hear things like that, then they start to go, what am I doing? What can I do to get my baby to sleep longer?
I'm doing
something
wrong.
Can I give them some, yeah, right. Or can I give them, a bunch of formula before they go to sleep, or put some rice cereal in a bottle, or, leave them to cry until they fall asleep, or, I don't know, start solids early because I heard that'll make them sleep. People start doing things because they think that there's something wrong when their baby is waking frequently through the night. Mm-hmm. But there's not. This is normal, and it's healthy, and it's a wonderful thing, and it's tiring. I get it.
Yes.
But all of these things, that you're doing, that people might do to try to make their baby sleep longer, it's not a safe thing to do. Your baby is not developmentally ready to sleep that long yet. Their brain should not be in a sleep state for that long.
No.
Breast milk is thin. It's designed to be metabolized quickly so that they will wake up again soon, because they should not be in a sleep state for extended periods of time.
No, it's not safe. But one of the other things I also tell people is, especially in that, early period of time, their stomachs are small. They can't hold a lot of volume. They're not doing this on purpose. They can't hold a lot of volume. They can only hold so much. It digests really easily for them. So they need to feed more frequently.
Yeah, and this behavior keeps them alive.
Right. Exactly. Yes. That's how we were designed.
They will sleep longer when they're developmentally ready. They're not right now.
No, they're not.
When they're really little.
And that's a really hard thing to wrap your head around when you're tired.
It is. And my kids were old, when they were not waking up and bothering me during the night. I mean, old.
Yeah.
4 and above.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And up until then, they were, they started to nurse less during the night, but still sometimes. Mm-hmm. And that's just how they're designed.
Right.
Now, you might have a baby that sleeps through the night, from whatever age. And if they're just doing that, then, count your blessings.
Right. But that's your baby. That's not every baby.
Exactly. It's not every baby.
And we cannot base all babies on what we want our baby to do or what somebody's baby is doing. Just because your neighbor's baby sleeps 6 hours the minute you bring them home from the hospital, that doesn't mean your baby should be doing the same thing. So no comparisons. No comparisies.
No, your baby is totally unique and wonderful and beautiful for a reason. There's no baby like your baby. They're going to all do their own thing. They're born with their little individual personalities, just like we have. We're all different, right? That starts from day one.
Day one. Absolutely.
Okay, your turn.
Okay. So mine is kind of twofold, the first one I have. I'm almost wondering if I should cut it in half. But what I have is food, which is a huge, huge mythical unicorn of a thing is you can't eat this, you can't eat that, blah, 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 blah. And that is one of my biggest things that I cannot stand. But on the other end of that too, and I just heard this the other day, which is why it went on my list. Actually, half of these things that are on my list is what I heard recently. Was, I don't know, maybe the doctor said maybe the breast milk just doesn't have enough fat in it.
Oh, that's on my list.
That's on your list?
That's my third one. Yes.
Oh,
Your milk
hate
isn't
that.
fatty enough or have enough calories. Yep, that's on my list.
It's not a thing. It is not a thing.
Yeah, your body did not get it wrong. Your body kind of knows what it's doing when it's taking care of the baby that it's feeding. It didn't get it wrong.
Right. Yes, that drives me crazy. Like, that is not, I don't even like acknowledge. I'm just like, moving on. Like, whenever mom says, well, the doctor said maybe if the baby's not gaining what they think the baby should be gaining, well, maybe my breast milk just doesn't have enough calories in it. I'm like, yeah, we're not even going to entertain that thought.
Yeah, what can I eat to make my milk fattier?
Yeah, I hear that too.
No, because somebody said it doesn't have enough fat. And you need to switch to cow's milk because your breast milk doesn't have enough fat in it. So you need your breast milk, your human milk that's being made from your human body for your human baby isn't good enough. So you need to switch to the milk from that other species over there to give to your baby.
Even though
that makes total sense.
Grew that baby. Even though you grew that baby. It just, that makes me absolutely crazy. So don't ever, that is a huge myth. There's no science behind that. And food, we could get into that forever, but we'll just put that out there that's one of the things that there are so many, everybody's got something that they were told they cannot eat.
Oh my God. And it's so the weirdest things.
Yeah.
I was told that I couldn't have pineapple.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Citrus fruits, chocolate.
What?
Vegetables.
Coffee.
Yeah,
I remember working when I was a long time ago before I had kids. This woman that I worked with got pregnant, and she was like, I said something about carbonated water, and she was like, oh no, I can't have carbonated water. And I was like, what? And I didn't know anything about anything. I was like 24 or whatever. And she's like, yeah, carbonated. I can't have carbonated. And I said, are you talking about caffeine? And she's like, no, I think it's carbonate. Like, she didn't even know. She couldn't even repeat the information that she heard. And she's still putting it out there for the room to hear.
And she's believing it.
I was like, and she's totally believing it. And I'm like, okay, that's not even like, I don't know anything about being pregnant. Like, I wasn't even planning on having kids at that point. But like, I'm pretty sure you can have carbonated beverages.
I know. Come on. No, I hear that.
It's
if it gives
insane.
me acid reflux, it's going to give the baby acid reflux. I can't eat, any kind of cruciferous vegetable. I can't eat anything that's got spices in it. I can't eat So basically, like, you're telling me that all the cultures around the world eat a completely bland diet when they're breastfeeding?
Yeah, like this isn't going on in all of the rest of the world. It's like suddenly you come to like the Western world and it's just like, how did people manage? How are we still around? Like, how did humans evolve this long when like you're not allowed to do it? Basically, like you can't do anything.
I know. I hate it.
Like, we would have died off by now.
We would have. Yes, we would have. Yeah. Yeah. So that's my number one.
That's so funny. Okay, well, so that was my number 3. That's what I wanted to see if we were going to have any of the same ones.
Oh my gosh. What's your number 2?
Hilarious. Okay, my number 2 is breastfeeding will rot your baby's teeth out.
That's a good one. I don't have that one on my list, but that is a good one.
That's just like, it just drives me insane because it's not true. And we have a whole episode about breastfeeding and cavities, which you can refer to for like all of the information about that. But my favorite thing that I always say on this topic is what I heard Dr. Jay Gordon say at a conference once. He said, we would be a dead branch on the evolutionary tree if human milk rotted human teeth.
Right.
And it's so true. Like, what? The thing that your baby was designed to be eating is rotting their head off. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. And actually, if you look into the research, it actually is the opposite.
Right.
What they're finding. They're actually finding the opposite to be true.
I mean, a lot of the research that comes out, and of course, both of us, you and I both like keep up with breastfeeding research, but the average person probably does not get excited about that. But every time like a new study comes in about how long they're seeing, how long, evolutionary, how long, our ancestors breastfed for, they're looking at their teeth. They're looking at their teeth.
Yeah, they're there. Their teeth are in their head.
That's how they're gauging how long they were breastfed for. Mm-hmm. It is not making your teeth fall out of your head.
No, and they find that people actually were breastfeeding for really, really long periods of time. Many, many, many years. Well, years.
Maybe
into like toddler, small childhood. Yep.
Even at night, I bet you.
Yes, and that's the other thing is like people are like, they're like, my dentist said I need to night wean because the breastfeeding at night. And this is my other thing that makes me laugh. So breastfeeding at night is rotting your baby's teeth out, but not during the day?
Right.
Like, how is this?
Right, because at night you have Kit Kat milk. At night you have peanut butter cup milk at night.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I can't. That's the I can't even.
No,
I'm
it's
like,
so
what? There's like, it's like one of those things. It's like when you just think about it logically, it's like, okay, obviously that is so not true.
Oh, this is all logic. Like people lose their minds when you have a baby. And they give you the most ridiculous, non-logical information, and then we go, "Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, my kid's teeth are going to rot out. Yeah, I better wash them out after I feed them." No, that is not accurate.
No, and that's the thing is like dentists, and it's the dentists. The dentists are saying this all the time, and there's still to this day this myth that will not die because they are constantly every single time you go to the dentist, they're like, "Oh, they're breastfeeding at night. Well, that's why they have cavities." It's just like, well, that's why they have cavities. Breast milk is super sugary. It just makes me laugh. I'm like, okay.
Whatever.
Right.
And
that's why.
We'll end this myth by saying, as we say in almost every single episode, medical professionals do not get training in lactation and feeding.
No, they don't.
So be careful about what kind of info you're going to get.
Exactly. And we'll do Diane's next after a word from our sponsor.
Woo!
Today's episode is brought to you by Rumina Nursing Wear. If you're a mom holding your flanges in place or trying to keep them propped up with your knees while pumping and never getting as comfortable as you want, there is a game changer out there for you. Rumina's Pump and Nurse collection has a variety of all-in-one hands-free pumping tank tops and bras that you can both nurse and pump in, even at the same time. Their patented design allows moms to comfortably wear all day. When baby wants to nurse, you nurse, and when you want to pump, you pump. You can pump hands-free and never have to disrobe or put on extra garments. Rumina's amazing all-in-one products can help you have a more comfortable and seamless breastfeeding experience. Check out Rumina's Pump and Nurse collection at pumpandnurse.com to see why thousands and thousands of breastfeeders are choosing Rumina for their breastfeeding journey. And you can use promo code BB19. That's BB as in Badass Breastfeeder 19 on your favorite Pump and Nurse product and get 20% off. And Diane and I have some really exciting news. We're going to be taking part in the Family Wellness Summit 2020 hosted by the Real Crunchy Mama. You can follow her on Instagram. This free 5-day conference is being held all online, January 1st through the 5th, meaning you can watch it from anywhere, anytime, on any device.
Free.
The summit is free. The summit is geared toward anyone interested in living a more natural lifestyle, and they have nearly 40 amazing presenters, including doctors, educators like us, and world leaders in holistic modalities, natural remedies, and family health care. Some topics include breastfeeding, midwifery, chiropractic care, homeopathy. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Herbal remedies, and much more. Registration will begin December 1st, so mark your calendars, December 1st for the free pass. And you can pre-order an all-access pass for only $89. This is a great deal that gives you access to all of the videos for 1 year, plus extras such as downloads, bonus videos, which Dianne and I are both doing, and discounts, coupons, and special discounted packages created for all access pass holders. You guys are not going to want to miss this, so if you are a natural newbie or just crunchy curious or already a holistic mama, go to FamilyWellnessSummit2020.com. That's FamilyWellnessSummit2020.com and register today.
And I just want to say one quick thing about that before you talk about where we can find all this great info.
Yeah.
Abby and I are both speaking for the summit, but not together. We're doing our own separate things. So you'll get to hear Abby doing hers and me doing mine. We're not together like we are here. So.
Right. But we're going to bring our, both of our unique information. And we get to choose. We got to choose our topics, right? So we get to do what we love.
Yes.
So you can find all of these sponsor links and their promo codes and all of our breastfeeding resources, as well as all of our other episodes at badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com. And you can also find your information about scheduling your very own lactation consultation with Dianne.
Yeah. You ready?
All right.
You ready?
Yes. What's your next myth?
This one came up in breastfeeding class the other day, and this one always kind of surprises me because I cannot believe that it's still floating around out there. I had a pregnant mama, sitting in class, and she said, a colleague of mine said to me, "Oh, you're going to breastfeed? You better toughen up your nipples before the baby comes."
Oh.
And I looked at her
I've heard that.
and I said, was she 90 years old? Because, that's pretty much the only people that should be even passing that information out there. Nobody should be passing that information out there. But this is such an old myth that you have to take, something hard and rough, like a sponge or a washcloth, and continuously rub it over your nipples to callus them so that you can breastfeed when the baby comes. That is
oh my God,
the
that is so
instruction.
awful and painful.
Yes. Never do it. And if anybody tells you to do it, that is seriously such an old myth that I am always surprised when it comes up, and it still continues to come up. There's no prep. There's no nipple prep that you need to do to breastfeed.
No, your nipples were designed to be breastfed from, so you really don't need to teach them.
No, you don't need to do anything to make it happen.
No, and that's I think that's the thing that comes up a lot, though, is especially because people, when they're pregnant, they're really nervous about breastfeeding. They're really nervous, you've never done it before. And so it's what can I do? What can I do to get prepared? What can I do to get ready? So people want to, people are very anxious. They want to act. They want to do something. It's really hard, but don't do anything. Except get a lactation consultant.
Oh, yeah.
I would say that.
But if I had, because when I teach class, one of the first things I say is, okay, let's hear them. Let's hear some of those things that you're hearing floating around out there. Or who have you talked to? What have you read? Let's talk about some of the things that you've heard so that we can talk about what the truth is. And that came up. If she hadn't have been in that class, would she have believed that? Would she have thought, I need to do this? Or would she have realized how ridiculous that was?
No, because I think if somebody tells you this about something you've never done before, you're just oh, okay. How are you supposed to know?
Right. It's awful to put this information out there and, have people think. And again, what if you do that? What if you rub this freaking sandpaper across your nipples for the next 4 weeks until your baby's born, and then the baby comes and the baby doesn't nurse well, or you have some pain, and then you're thinking, oh, I must have not done that right. Or I must not have done it long enough. Or, it's ridiculous information. It's ridiculous. I can't believe that's even being still told to anybody.
I know. That's really oh my God. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I heard too, do it after you get out of the shower. Oh, gosh. So that your nipples are nice and so that your skin is very delicate and raw. And do it with a dry washcloth. I mean, you're basically, I know. It's gonna bleed.
It's awful. Yeah.
How is that?
It's awful.
Idea.
It's awful. All right. So what's your next?
Okay. I'm cringing. I know.
All right.
This is my final one because you took my number 3. So, but here's my last one. And so it's one sentence, but it's got like several endings because it applies to lots of things.
Okay.
So my last one is I have low milk supply. Because I can't pump a lot, because my breasts are soft, because my baby's fussy, because my baby breastfeeds all the time, because my baby drinks a bottle.
Because my baby cries.
Because my baby cries, because my mom-in-law told me I did.
Yep.
Because my doctor told me I did. It's like, this is the thing. And we know that most people that end breastfeeding before they want to end, they end it because they think they have low milk supply. Correct.
And lack of support. Those two things go hand in hand, obviously.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah. And actual, real low milk supply is very rare. Happens. It does. But it's really very rare. And these things are not signs of low milk supply.
No.
Neither are most of the things that you're hearing. The milk supply thing really, really, really makes me so upset because it's, again, it's like why, this is why most people stop. They're like, well, I just ran out of milk. I just dried up. My milk, right. I didn't have enough milk. It just wasn't there anymore.
Oh my God.
I don't have any milk.
I hear that all the time and I'm like, that doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Like, unless there is like a medication that you're taking that all of a sudden impacts your supply, which that's legit, but still it's not an overnight thing.
Right.
Your milk doesn't go away.
Well, and there's so many things too, like, people are pumping and they're like, oh my God, there's no milk coming out. It must not be in there. And that's another myth, right?
It's a myth.
Pumping output represents the milk that you're making. It doesn't.
It does not at all.
Or that your breasts are soft. That at first they were hard and big, and now they're soft and not so full. Well, that means that all the milk went away.
Yeah,
that's not true.
And the baby's crying.
Your baby's fussy, crying. So they're upset because there's no milk in there. Or they're breastfeeding all day. They must be, looking for milk, and it's not in there. They just keep going back. They just keep breastfeeding, looking for milk.
It must be gone. I was empty. Yeah. It never happened. Right. It doesn't happen. It does not happen.
Yeah. And like people are so worried about their milk supply that they're supplementing, and the baby takes the bottle right after they breastfeed. Oh, well, that must mean that they were still hungry, so there's no milk in there.
Nope, does not mean that.
And that's another myth. Babies just suck. They can't do anything else. The baby's now overfed.
Right. And now they're going to go to sleep, which tells people, oh, they must have been starving because now I fed them and now they're overfed. Happy Thanksgiving.
Now they feel like you feel when you eat like 8 things off the Taco Bell menu.
Right. Right. Now they're full and heavy and then, then there goes mom trying to put them back to the breast again in 2 hours. The baby's like, dude, I'm full.
Right.
That's the biggest thing I see is really, it becomes this awful cycle. Then the baby's screaming at the breast, and the mom's like, oh, now they have nipple confusion, which, by the way, is on my list. Because it's like, now they have nipple confusion because I gave them one bottle because they weren't breastfeeding well, and now they won't go back to the breast. And it's like, they won't go back to the breast because they're full, not because they have nipple confusion. And we need to just, breastfeeding it's not like that, it's not like that, but we do not trust it. Our society does not trust breastfeeding at all.
No,
not even a
doesn't
little bit.
allow. Yeah, we do not allow breastfeeders to trust their bodies. We don't allow it.
Right. So you have to do it on your own. You have to be the one that says, this is working. This is working.
And if you feel like it's not, reach out.
There's people,
Don't just decide that your milk went away and that there's nothing you can do and so you have to quit. If you want to keep going, reach out and we.
Yeah, and
we can fix it.
We can fix it and help you to fix it, or at least get you in a good place.
Right.
And troubleshoot it and talk about all the things.
Right. And if needed, get a consultation with Dianne or somebody in your area.
Yeah.
If you need if you need that kind of thing. Although there's a lot of times that people, when they message me, they have concerns about milk supply, and after a simple conversation, they're like, "Oh,
yeah, absolutely."
It's just like, "Oh, okay, I get it now."
Yep. Yeah, sometimes we just need to you just need to talk it out with somebody who can separate your situation for you.
You need to have the information.
Yeah. You need the information. You need to, it's just, there's so much more to it. It's like breastfeeding is very simple and very difficult at the same time, but the education there is really, really important so that we can know what we're doing here. You don't want to give up too soon if it's what you want to do. If you want to breastfeed that baby, then you should be able to breastfeed that baby. But you need help for that. Just like you would anything else in your life, you need help. You're not going to do anything in your life completely alone. So I don't know why this would fall into that
this is the last thing you would do alone.
Yeah. I have a couple more, but there's only one that I really want to do.
Okay, do it.
This is another one that came up, and it makes me crazy. A nurse that told one of my moms recently, baby wasn't feeding well, wasn't latching well. And the nurse said, some babies are just bottle babies.
Oh, God.
And that is something that I have heard before, too. That not maybe necessarily like that. That's how she put it to this mom. But I have heard people say, some babies just don't breastfeed. Some babies just aren't breastfeeders. Some babies just can't breastfeed.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
So your baby was just born without the instinct and the reflex to do
the thing that they're supposed to do, right?
Baby things. Okay.
But that is coming from people. But when it comes from a medical profession, I could see if it's like your mom or your mother-in-law or some random person who says, yeah, my baby didn't breastfeed. Some babies just don't breastfeed. Whatever. But when it comes from a medical professional who says that to you, like this mom, thank goodness, knew better. But you think that they know what they're talking about because it's a medical professional.
Right.
But if a medical professional really knew what they were talking about, they would look at that baby and go, the baby's not breastfeeding. We need to figure out why, because instinctively that baby should be breastfeeding. And if they're not doing what instinctively they should be doing, then there's a reason why that's happening. And we need to look at that. We don't just go, oh, yeah, they're, be like saying, oh, well, you know what? Some kids just don't walk.
I was going to say that. Like some fish born, they just don't swim.
Right. Like this is an instinctive behavior that kept us alive for 1 million years.
Your baby has as much drive to be alive as all the other babies.
Like, I don't get it. We have been so desensitized to it that now everybody's like, oh, but there's choices. You don't have to breastfeed. You can just give bottles and it's the same and it's just as good and it, doesn't mean anything. And it's like, that doesn't mean your baby does not want to breastfeed.
Right.
And if somebody tells you that, definitely find different help because they will all breastfeed. And so when people say to me things like, well, if it works, I'd like to breastfeed if it works. If it works, it always works.
Yeah,
I've
definitely heard that.
Works.
Yeah. I'm going to try. I'll try.
Yeah.
You're just going in with the with that doubt of like, well, it might not work because it doesn't work out for so many people. You see it everywhere. You hear it all the time. It didn't work out for me. It's so, I just couldn't do it. My baby just wouldn't do it. My body just wouldn't cooperate. This is the attitude. This is the cultural attitude we have about breastfeeding.
Right. But if you have the right support and help, then it's not an issue. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. And there's so many times where people are like, well, it didn't work for me the first time. And I'm really, I really am nervous about trying again, or it didn't work for my friend. And all my friends had babies and none of them are breastfeeding. And so of course you're going to think that something's going to happen. It's not going to work for you because nobody around you has had success. But why did they not have success? They didn't have the right support or education. I mean, it's just that simple. I mean, who do you think helped? We keep going back to 1 million years ago. Who was there? It was your mom, your sister, your grandmother, your aunts. Everybody lived together in communities. Everybody took care of each other. And that's how you learned. And now It's like, oh, yeah, good luck to you. Have fun with that.
Yeah. And now we've found ways to profit off of people who can't make this work. Mm-hmm. We've found there's all kinds of, the misinformation isn't an accident.
Right. It's not.
It's out there on purpose. It's out there to destroy you and to get you at that most vulnerable time so that it doesn't work out for you. It's on purpose.
It is. It is. And it's ridiculous. Ugh.
And that's why these myths won't die.
There.
Because there is somebody out there benefiting from these myths and you believing that you can't do this, that your baby can't do it.
Right, no.
There's money to be made.
Right. That's what it comes down to. It's the bottom line. So these myths stop today, people.
Yes.
Mamas, everybody listening. I know it's not just mamas that listen, but these myths, stop today. But send us we would love to hear. Is there one that you heard when you were pregnant? Oh my God, send us a review and put the myth
send us
in.
all the things that you heard.
We
can do another episode.
Oh yeah, we'll totally do another episode on it because these are like you said, they just don't go away. And I love to be able to tell people why they aren't true. Often somebody will say, "Oh, I heard I can't eat A, B, and C." Why? I don't know. They just said I can't.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I will give you the reason why that is not true. So you have the science to go and educate somebody else because that's what it's all about.
Totally.
Yeah, totally. So
thanks for listening.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.